Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 11. Purini puri karmani shrotyavani vibhakshaha atha sadhotra yatsaram samuditya manishaya ruhi bhadraya bhutanam yenatma suprasidati.
Hare Krishna. Translation. There are many varieties of scriptures, and in all of them, there are many prescribed duties which can be learned only after many years of study in their various divisions. Therefore, O sage, please select the essence of all these scriptures and explain it for the good of all living beings, that by such instruction their hearts may be fully satisfied.
Text 12. Sutta janasi bhadram te bhagavan sattvatam patihi devakyam vasudevasya jato yasya chikirshaya.
All blessings upon you, O Sutta Goswami. You know for what purpose the personality of Godhead appeared in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva.
Text 13. Tannaha shushrushmananam arhasya anguna varnitam yasya vataro bhutanam kshemaya cha bhavaya cha.
O Sutta Goswami, we are eager to learn about the personality of Godhead and his incarnations. Please explain to us those teachings imparted by previous masters, acharyas, for one is both by speaking them and by hearing them.
Text 14. Apanaha shamshritim ghoram yannama vivashogranan tatha sadyo vimuchyeta yad vibeti svayam bhayam.
Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified.
Text 15. Yat pada shamshraya sutta munayaha prashamyayanaha sadaya punantinu prapshtha svaduniya punuseyava.
O Sutta, those great sages who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can at once sanctify those who come in touch with them, whereas the waters of the Ganges can sanctify only after prolonged use.
Text 16. Kova bhagavatastasya punya shlokdeya karmanaha sudikamo na shrunayat yasya kali malapaham.
Who is there desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of quarrel, who is not willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord?
Text 17. Tasya karmani utarani parigitani suribhi bruhinaha shradhanam Leelaya dadata kala.
His transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious, and learned sages like Narada sing of them. Please, therefore, speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures he performs in his various incarnations.
Text 18. Atha kya hi hare dhiman avatara kataha shubhaha lila vidatta sveram ishvarasyatma mayaya.
O wise Sutta, please narrate to us the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Godhead's multi-incarnations. Such auspicious adventures and pastimes of the Lord, the Supreme Controller, are performed by his internal powers.
Text 19. Vayam tu na vitipyama uttama shloka vikrame yatra navatam rasagyanam svadu svadu pade pade.
We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment.
Text 20. Kritavan kila karmani saharamena keshavaha atimatyani bhagavan gudha kapata manushaha.
Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balarama, played like a human being and so masked he performed many superhuman acts.
Text 21. Kalim agatam agnaya kshetrashmin vaishnave vayam asina dirga satrena kathyam shakshana harahe.
Knowing well that the age of Kali has already begun, we are assembled here in this holy place to hear at great length the transcendental message of Godhead and in this way perform sacrifice.
Text 22. Tvam naha sandrishito dhatra dustaram nishtarichatam kalim satvaharam pumsam karnadhara ivarnavam.
We think that we have met your goodness by the will of providence, just so that we may accept you as captain of the ship for those who desire to cross the difficult ocean of Kali, which deteriorates all the good qualities of a human being.
Text 23. Bruhi Yogeshware Krishne Brahmanye Dharma Varmani Svam Kastam Adhunopete Dharma Kam Sharanam Gataha.
Since Sri Krishna, the Absolute Truth, the master of all mystic powers, has departed for his own abode, please tell us to whom the religious principles have now gone for shelter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Geeta Mataji. Very nice pronunciation of Sanskrit and translation in English. Thank you both so much. We just stop sharing this and share the screen. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we're continuing reading of the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And today we're going to be on. One second, I've got the wrong slideshow up. Give me a second. Yeah, that's better. Right, so Canto 1, Chapter 1. Today we are on text 20. So as usual, we'll just do the recap of the chapter so far. So 1 to 3 was a prelude, definition of the absolute truth, glories of the Bhagavatam, some very, very nice, important verses in the beginning. And 4 to 8, the sages glorify Sutta Goswami. And then the current last section of this chapter is three components: description of the Kali Yuga people, eagerness to hear, and the 6 questions. So we are entering into the last section of this particular, we're actually into this last section of the 6 questions. So text 1:20. Before that, I will just recite the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Krishne Swadamupagate Dharma Gyan Adi Pishaha Kalau Nasta Drishamesha Purana Kodunodita. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimata Bhakti Charu Swami Niti Namine Nigda Cheta Supraneta Vagmi Nam Jarasakutam Pukupadagata Prana Naumi Charu. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Tirthishasya Sannivadi Pashata Deshataru Prabhupada Ki Jai. The text 20 of the first chapter of the Bhagavatam. Kritavan kila karmani saharamena keshavaha atimatyani bhagavan guda kapata manushaha. Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. Before we move on to the purport, I just wanted to highlight a few important things on the pronunciation of this verse. So things that we need to note here are the N. You can see the karmani, the N with a dot underneath. It's the ana, the soft N sound. So rather than karmani, it's karmani. So that is the right pronunciation. Saha, again, you can see saha ramena, not ramena, ramena. Keshavaha, Amrityani Bhagavan, that's fine. And then there's a dot underneath the D there, which normally you know this. If without the D, this would be Gudha, the sound, like the dental sound, when the tongue is touching the back of the top teeth. Gudha, Gudha, Gudha. But when there's a dot underneath, it's a the sound. The means it's the tongue, it's a palatal sound. So the tongue is touching the top of the palate. So Gudha. And then again, you've got a T with a dot underneath. It's not a T. So kapata would be without the dot. But with the dot, it's a hard T. So kapata, like a tomato, a tomato. Kapata, manu, saha. So yeah, those are the important things in the verse. So now go on to the purport. There's purport divided into 2 pages. So anybody can just unmute and please recite the purport. Your Prabhupada's Ki Jai.
Can I try?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, everybody. The doctrine of anthropomorphism, anthropomorphism and zoomorphism are never applicable to Krishna or the personality of Godhead. The theory that a man becomes God by dint of penance and austerities is very much rampant nowadays, especially in India. Since Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were detected by the sages and saints to be the personality of Godhead as indicated in revealed scriptures, many unscrupulous men have created their own incarnations. This process of concocting an incarnation of God has become an ordinary business, especially in Bengal. Any popular personality with a few traits of mystic powers will display some feat of jugglery and easily become an incarnation of Godhead by popular vote. Lord Sri Krishna was not in that type of incarnation. He was actually the personality of Godhead. From the very beginning of his appearance, he appeared before his so-called mother as four-armed Vishnu. Then at the request of the mother, he became like a human child and at once left her for another devotee at Gokula, where he was accepted as the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata. Similarly, Sri Baladev, the counterpart of Sri Lord Krishna, was also considered a human child born another wife of Sri Vasudeva. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that his birth and deeds are transcendental, and that anyone who is so fortunate as to know the transcendental nature of his birth and deeds will at once become liberated and eligible to return to the kingdom of God. So the knowledge of the transcendental nature of the birth and deeds of Lord Sri Krishna is sufficient for liberation. In Bhagavatam, the transcendental nature of the Lord is described in 9 cantos, and the 10th canto, his specific pastime are taken up. All this becomes known as one's reading of this literature progress. It is important to know that here, however, the Lord is exhibited his divinity even from the lap of his mother, that his deeds are all superhuman. He lifted Govardhana Hill at the age of 7, and that all these acts definitely prove him to be the actually supreme personality of Godhead. Yet, due to his mystic covering, he was always accepted as an ordinary human child by his so-called father and mother and other relatives. Whenever some Herculean task was performed by him, the father and mother took it otherwise, and they remained satisfied and unflinching filial love for their son. As such, the sages of Naimisharana describe him as apparently resembling a human being, but actually he is the supreme almighty personality of God. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Palika Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Siddhamsa Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namaste. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanusute Devi, Namami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai. So, as usual, we'll just dive into the purport and just look at what is there. I think again, I have this slideshow I'm sharing is incomplete. Just give me a second. I need to just make sure that I am. Something going wrong with my files here. Give me 1 second. Let me sort them out. Because I would normally have that slide with the animation on, but it's not showing that. Give me 1 second. Sorry, devotee. Sorry about this. Okay, looks like it's, normally I would have my animation on, but at least it saved the file without animation. Something we can do now. So we'll just continue with whatever I have here. So what I was going to do was just ask, I would normally just put up the word anthropomorphism and then ask people what they thought, but the answers all come up with because animation doesn't work. But doesn't worry, we'll just go through it. So Prabhupada starts off with the sentence, the doctrines of anthropomorphism and zoomorphism are never applicable to Sri Krishna or the personality of Godhead. So anthropo actually means human-like. So anthropomorphism means to attribute human characteristics or behavior to something that, which is example would be Tom and Jerry. So you have these cartoons who are speaking like humans do, and Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, like that. But in terms of the context here, it is attribution of human characteristics to God. So basically, taking God to be a human being, and we'll speak a bit more about that. That is what is meant by anthropomorphism. And zoomorphism zoo refers to animals. So zoomorphism means the attribution of animal characteristics, the other way around. So the attribution of animal characteristics to humans. So for example, when we say things like, oh, he's a pig. So somebody who's 30 or who's eating too much or whatever, we say, oh, he's a pig. So again, it's not that he's a pig, but it's just like that's zoomorphism. Or spread your wings, you say, spread your wings. So, these kind of sayings. Leave the nest. So, when the children grow up and they leave homes, they leave the nest. They're not birds, but like the birds leave the nest like that. Or acting like sheep when we just follow the crowd. We do whatever the whole crowd is doing. So those sort of things, that's like zoomorphism. So in context of what Prabhupada is saying, it's the representations of gods as animals, or attributing of animal characteristics to gods. So then somebody might say, what about, we have Matsya avatar, Varaha avatar, etc., etc. What about those? So then the explanation is, yes, the Lord does take a form in different yonis as well. And we see the Matsya avatar, and we read about the Varaha avatar, etc., Narsingha avatar as well. But again, we understand as devotees, we understand in the ultimate sense, the Lord's original form is not of that of an animal. He takes that particular form to perform a particular pastime. So that is something that we just need to understand. Now there is a verse in the Bhagavad Gita, which actually speaks about this anthropomorphism, and is rejecting anthropomorphism, which means rejecting or talking about how some people foolishly think of the Lord to be human. Anybody think of a verse like that in the Bhagavad Gita? Ninth chapter, famous verse.
9th chapter, 11th verse. Avajananti Mamuda.
That's it. Yes. Who was that?
Prasad from Manchester.
Oh, Prashad Prabhu. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Well done. Yes. So again, there you go. Avajananti Mamuda Manushim Tanum Ashram Param Bhavam Ajanantum Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. So the Lord is saying, fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as a supreme Lord of all that be. And in the translation, in the purport, part of the purport I put up here, he's saying his body is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Although he's not a common man, the foolish deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called here Manushim, because he's acting like a man, a friend of Arjuna's or politician involved in battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways, he's acting just like an ordinary man. But actually, his body is Satchidananda Vigraha, eternal bliss and knowledge, absolute. This is confirmed in the Vedic language also, Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is eternal blissful, who is the eternal blissful form of knowledge. So, okay, I'm just concerned that my slideshow, I didn't say the rest of it. Looks like this is it. It just came here and it stopped. Okay, so theory, well, I'll let you just go with whatever I have here. The theory that a man becomes God by dint of penance and austerities is very much rampant nowadays, especially in India. So I had prepared, I don't know what's happened, but this file didn't save, the latest version didn't save. So I've got no more on the slideshow from here. So I will just end the slideshow and we will just speak about this. So the Prabhupada is talking about the fact that there are people who think that by their austerities and penance, etc., they can become God. And then he said, it was saying in the purport, there are many situations in India, especially in Bengal, he mentions that, right? So if you think about it, the examples there. So there's an example, very good example in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where there is a personality who was God. And then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who was the deputy magistrate, the British Raj was going on, he was deputy magistrate there, and he was then asked to go and sort him out. Does anybody know this pastime?
Is that the person with the big hair? Can't remember the name. I know he was put into prison and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur or somebody cut his hair and then he lost his house. I can't remember the name.
Yeah. So Govinda Gopi, you had your mic off. Maybe you can recite the story.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
He was actually doing all the sinful activities, and then especially very towards young women, and then when Bhaktivinoda Thakur found out, he took Bhagavad Gita with him, and he sat down and read the Bhagavad Gita, recited the Bhagavad Gita, and then his assistant told him that there's a Brahman outside. He's doing some chanting, and then he tried to put himself in the fire, make himself like a fire, walk through the fire, and show his power. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, "You are a rascal. You are doing so many bad things in the name of God. You are not God." And then he put charm. He made spell for Bhaktivinoda family, and they all fall sick. And then in that way, then when they recover, then he understands that this demonic man is doing all the bad things to his family and to other people. And then he went back again with his son this time. And then they caught him and put him in the prison, as what Mataji had said. The only way to get him off his strength is to cut off his hair. And then when he cut his hair, he go crazy. He lost everything. I'm not sure if I'm right, but this is what I read.
Yes, no, very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much, Govinda Gopi. You got it all right, exactly. So you see this person, and do you remember his name, Govinda Gopi?
The demonic man. I can't remember his name. It's like Baba.
Vishakishan Baba. Vishakishan Baba was his name. So he declared himself to be God.
Yes.
And he had so many followers. You see, this is the problem. When somebody, either they say they are God themselves and they show some mystic power, people in India, they go there and support them in hordes. So this particular Baba, Vishakishan Baba, in Bengal, they call it Bishakishan instead of a V, but Bishakishan or Bishakishan, same thing. So Vishakishan Baba, he had powers for sure. As Govinda Gopi mentioned, he used to actually enter the fire, literally. He would enter the fire and nothing would happen to him. He could levitate, stuff like that. So because he was showing these kind of powers, people were following him and people believed he was mad. Believed he was God, rather. he also would actually cure people. So, these powers are possible. It is possible that by lots of austerities and penances, people can get these powers. There's Ashtasiddhi, right? So these yogis, they do lots of severe penances and austerities to get these powers. So the Anima, Mahima, Laghima, Prapti, Prakamya, Ashita, Vishita, and all these are the siddhis you can get. So it's even today there are sages in India or sadhus, some yogis who have these powers. So it's not that they can't do it. But the point is that doesn't make them God. That's the whole point. It doesn't make them God. But he said, I am God. And when Bhaktivinoda Thakur approached him, he said, he actually declared this, I am God. And you better, if you don't get away from me, or if you stop taking action against me, I am going to make things very difficult for you and the family. And he did. You see, he cursed, and his curse worked. He had that power that the family got sick. Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself got very sick. So it did work. But eventually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur somehow worked out that his power was in his hair. He had long hair. And when he was jailed, people held him down and they chopped his hair off. And when the hair was gone, his power was gone. So these Babajis, they somehow have these powers, and of course his power was stored in the hair somehow. But the point is, yes, these things happen. The other example that I put down on my slide was about a person called Meher Baba. Anybody heard of Meher Baba? So Meher Baba and apparently his centers are still around. So it's not, that he is completely gone. He still has followers. I just went on the net to find out today a bit more about him, and he's got a center in London as well. Not a huge following, but people are following him. So this person, Meher Baba, was born in 1894. When was Prabhupada born? Anybody?
1896.
Yes, thank you. So he was 2 years older than Prabhupada. So how we hear about him is when Prabhupada was once giving a class, I believe it was in Australia. And at the end of Prabhupada must have been, of course, every class he's actually hammering down the point about Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at this particular time, this one person got up at the end of the class and he says that I believe that Meher Baba is God. What do you think? So before I go to what Prabhupada says, let me give you a background, because most of you don't seem to know who Meher Baba is or was. He was like a normal person growing up until the age of 18 or so. Apparently, it is said that he was captain of his cricket team as well. So he was very much normal. Right? He was playing sports and doing studies and everything. But he apparently met some sort of mystic woman at one point, and it is said that the mystic woman chanted some mantras, put her hand on his head, and this transformed this person. And he then started to lose interest in everything else, and he started to do austerities and penances, and he also developed some mystic powers. So then people started to follow him. And again, people started to call him God, and he also then started to believe he was God. So like this. So he also had a following. From 1894, he was born, and I think he left this world in 1950 something, right? But from 1925, apparently from 1925, he took a vow of silence. So now imagine somebody who's a leader, how are you going to preach and how are you going to do anything? He's not speaking. This person's not speaking. He's just doing either sign language or just writing something. Otherwise, not speaking. He didn't speak for so many years. But anyway, this was the history of him. But people believed that he was God. And he himself said, I'm God. Then, when this person said that Meher Baba is God, so Prabhupada says that I don't know about Meher Baba, but we believe Krishna is God. So again, this person insisted, no, but Meher Baba says he is God. And what do you think about it? Again, Prabhupada said to him, look, just look at Krishna. And he pointed at the altar and said, look how beautiful Krishna is. You should just try and take some time and read some of our books, and you will understand Krishna is God. And this person says, no, Meher Baba is God. You have it wrong. You should all follow Meher Baba. Anyway, Prabhupada ignored him. Then at the end of the class, Prabhupada was walking past and walked past this man, and he said, please don't be misled. Be careful. And that's all he said. So see, there are all these people who, by dint of mystic power, start to get following, and people think they are God. So one has to be very, very careful. So there was one other incident where I met one of Prabhupada's disciples, one of his senior disciples a few years ago. His name was Srinaji Prabhu. Srinaji Prabhu was based in Mumbai. And he came from a very, very wealthy family. And but when he met Prabhupada in the 70s, at the time, he was also following some other Swamiji. Or actually, he was a God man. He also called himself God. But in that case, actually, his followers called him God, and he didn't refuse it. He let them call him God. I know the name, but I will not, because there are still many people who follow him, so I will not name him. But anyway, so this Srinaji Prabhu, he was not initiated at the time. I don't know what his non-initiate name was, but he came to Prabhupada and he said, I'm also following this particular personality, and he says he is God. So Prabhupada, because by this time he was already close to Prabhupada, he was listening to Prabhupada, he was quite favorable, but he was confused between the two. He had to make a choice. So Prabhupada said to him that, do you think he is God? So he says, well, he says he's God. And so far, I have, I don't know anything else about him. He's just God, and the people also say he's God. So Prabhupada said to him, okay, do you know that Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill on his left little finger for 7 days and 7 nights? So Srinaji Prabhu says yes. So he said, okay, go to your God man today and ask him if he can lift his desk on his, forget about the finger, ask him to hold it in his hand, hold it up for 7 minutes. Can you do it? Anyway, so Srinaji Prabhu actually, he says, I went to him, and I told him, I said that Swami Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has asked me to ask you this. Can you lift this table on your left hand and hold it for 7 minutes? Because Krishna held the mountain for 7 days and 7 nights. But can you just do it for 7 days? And this guy, this godman got really angry at him and threw him out. And that was the end of that. And he obviously became a devotee, he got initiated, and he was a really very nice devotee, supported the movement financially. And he drove actually, when Prabhupada left movement from Mumbai to Vrindavan, I think he drove to the airport. That was the last trip. Prabhupada, everything. Very, very close and very nice devotee. But you see, there are many people who are misled by such people. So then what I had on my slide also was that anybody has read the CC Compact by our Sudhapa Prabhu? CC Compact, he's done the summary of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. His little book, very, very nice book. If you haven't got it, you should get it. Really nice book, CC Compact. So a few years ago, he also did a course on it. And I think he still does it time to time. So you get a chance, you should definitely do it. So in there, Sudhapa Prabhu has given a nice formula about God, about how to recognize a God. And say, what's the safe method to recognize God? When somebody says, I'm God, Prabhupada, of course, used to say, ask him, before he starts to say, I'm God, so I can dance with the gopis, ask him to first of all lift the Govardhan hill. Or if somebody says, I'm Lord Shiva, then ask him to drink poison, stuff like that. But Sudhapa Prabhu has given a nice acronym As you know, Prabhu likes his acronyms, right? So he says SAFE. SAFE God is S-A-F-E. And I'm going now by memory. So he says S stands for scriptural evidence. So every incarnation of God, or every descent of God to the material world, has been recorded in the Shastra. As we know, all the incarnations are mentioned in Shastra, and even the future incarnation, for example, Kalki Avatar is also mentioned in the Shastra. So it should be mentioned. So that's the first one. If whoever says I'm God, if that is not mentioned in the Shastra, then he is not God. So that's the first test, S of the safe. So if somebody says I'm God, okay, yeah, show me the scriptural evidence where you were mentioned. So at that time, somebody actually challenged that, oh, what about the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So yes, there's lots of evidences in Shastra about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being God. And in that CC complex, many are given, and you can also read about them, about evidences. One day, if we have some more time, we can go over them again. So yes, say S is for scriptural evidence. A is for astrology and attributes. So again, by astrology, at that time, even when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, there were very exalted brahmanas who actually, by the nakshatras, they predicted that this is going to be a very powerful personality, and some actually even said he is actually incarnation of God. So astrology and attributes, so that the persons who are God, they would have attributes. So for example, we know that the Lord would have some specific marks on his feet, right? So like that, attributes. That's A. That's A. F is for follow the acharyas. So you see, based on these astrological predictions and everything, the acharyas then confirm, because of by dint of their purity and their spirituality, the acharyas, they are able to confirm those facts. So if the acharyas are confirmed that somebody actually is an incarnation, then again, that's an evidence. So SAF, and E stands for extraordinary activities. So anybody who is a God or an incarnation of God will perform some amazing activities. And so we know about Krishna lifting the hill. There's so many, he killed all the demons. So unlimited pastimes you can see. And even in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Ram, Lord Narasimha, all incarnations perform some extraordinary activities. And same with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these are the things, SAFE. So this is how we can define somebody being God or not. So that is what I had. I had some more slides, but right now, of course, because I've lost them, we will stop here. Let me see if in the purple there was something else that I can just pick up last. So here, in one of the says, Prabhupada says that Krishna took birth, so-called mother, he says, so-called mother. So the reason why I say so-called mother is because Krishna doesn't really need a mother to take birth, right? So he accepts a devotee, his mother, or a devotee is his father. He accepts devotee parents because these devotees have performed penances and austerities in the past to have, their desire has been to have the Lord as their child. This is why to satisfy and to please the devotees, the Lord does this pastime. He actually and takes so-called birth. There is no birth. The Lord has no birth, just like we have. Although it says, sometimes we use the word born also for Lord, but he actually doesn't take birth like us. He comes here by dint of his own will, whereas we take birth according to our karma, by the arrangement of nature. Karmana deva neterna jantu deha papatye. So it is said in the third canto of Bhagavatam that according to our deeds and under the supervision of the Supreme Lord, we are placed into a womb of a woman to assume a particular type of body that we deserve. We can't choose that. But the Lord is not like that. The Lord takes birth by his own free will for various pastimes. So yeah, that's what I have. So devotees, I will stop now and invite any comments or questions or corrections. My apologies about the technical problem today with the slides.
Hare Krishna, Mukunda-Hari, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Balika Mataji.
I understand. I was reading or hearing something about when I think Tamal Krishna Maharaj was there with Srila Prabhupada, and one person came. He was also claiming himself to be God, and Srila Prabhupada said, "Give him, please, a lot of prasad." And he was fed with loads of loads of prasad and prasad, and he couldn't hold his urge to go. And Srila Prabhupada said, "No, if you're God, you have the control, So, but he was really desperate. And then Srila Prabhupada says that, this, when people come and call themselves to be God or something supreme, and this is how you can test, give them a lot of prasad and to see whether, they can control themselves, So,
yeah, it's a nice one. Thank you for sharing that, Parika Mataji. Yes, there's a question here from Sumadura Radhika. Like the whole name is not there, but thank you. I would say thank you so much for asking. You're teaching us how to. No, okay, so I just basically thanking for the class and thinking about the comments about the pronunciation. That's fine. There's an iPhone. There's a large following of Swaminarayan devotees. Is there any link between Krishna or Swaminarayan? That's a very, very nice question, actually. So the Swaminarayan, there is the difference is some very, very nice devotees, and I have a lot of respect for Swaminarayan devotees because they are really proper. We look at the attitude. But really nice people. When you go to, even if you go to the mandir, they're very polite. How they treat you is very, very nice. But what I don't know that much about Swaminarayan, but what I do know that originally, I think somebody mentioned Gunatit Swami, I think the first Swami, he was worshipping Krishna. So he started with worshipping Krishna, but then along the while, what's changed there is what they say is that you should just worship the current guru. So they see in our sampradaya or in Vaishnava sampradayas, we say the guru is a transparent via medium who takes us to Krishna. Here they believe that the Lord is now within the guru, and everything is within the guru. So whoever the current Swami is, they just basically everything stops there for them. So there's a slight difference there. Otherwise, when you look at if you listen to any of their philosophy, in one sense, they don't have that much philosophy. To be honest, I'm sorry if there's some Swaminarayan people here on the group, but the philosophy is not as deep as the philosophy that we have from Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's not that much philosophy there, but they are nice people, I must say, right? So there's something to say for that. They're very, very generous people. You can see the temples are very opulent, very nicely kept and everything. But it's okay, it's at least they are, these people are following something rather than being an atheists. It is, in that sense, a personal philosophy. It's not impersonal because they still believe in God, although they believe that God is within the guru. So there's a slight difference there. I hope that makes sense. Is there anybody else who can throw some light on somebody who has more connections with Swaminarayan?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hema Mataji. Just one caveat. I want to make sure that we do not insult any other path. We should not be insulting anybody. We should respect every path. But yeah, so go ahead, please, Hema Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhuji, most of our families are Swaminarayan followers.
Okay.
And so I know that they truly believe that Swaminarayan was an avatar of Krishna. And they have identified markings on his lotus feet, which are very similar to Krishna's. Like we believe Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. We believe Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, but they believe that Swaminarayan is the avatar of Krishna.
Okay.
And most of their philosophy is very similar to ours. And the only thing that's missing is the bit about us. This eternal service bit, where we believe that we can eternally serve Krishna.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of, when Swaminarayan was on this planet, he actually installed all his temples that he installed. Krishna was in the middle.
Yes.
Krishna was in the center. He put Krishna's, because his Ishtadev was Krishna. He prayed to Krishna.
Exactly.
But along the way, there were slight differences that were introduced in certain, like Baptists now believe that they put Swaminarayan Bhagwan in the middle and Radha Krishna on the side. So that's the slight changes. But overall, Swaminarayan Bhagwan has said you must read Bhagavatam every day. He's identified that Shikshapatri is very much extract of Bhagavad Gita. So there are a lot of similarities, but a slight difference in, and I think for them, Mahant Swami, who is the Guru at the moment, the present Guru, is Guru. Via Guru, they will access Swaminarayan Bhagwan. That is their...
Okay, so Guru, but exactly. But then, okay, do they believe Krishna is the Supreme Lord?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. So there you go. Right go.
Their dhun is Ramakrishna Govinda, Jai Jai Govinda, Hare Govinda. So it's all about Krishna, the dhun that they sing.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Wonderful. So, anything else? Anybody else? Any comments? Okay. Okay, Govinda Mataji, Govinda Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, dear devotee. I've got a friend who is the Brahma Kumaris.
Okay.
And I attended their class. And then they also teach people how to take vegetarian and be good. And then once I visited her home, she had this Brahma Kumari, the guru, in the center. And then Krishna was below the picture. And then I told her, I said, look, Krishna is God. Brahma Kumari is also one of the Sampadaya, but they are a follower like the Parampara. So you should put Krishna on the top and your guru below. So I once went there and I was upset and I told her, but she doesn't believe what I say. So I left her, because when I'm having book table, she always come and join me, help me distribute books, take prasadam, but her influence is different from as what Mataji had said. But they are teaching people also be nice, be kind, and meditation a lot. Yeah, that's what I know. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. Yes, yeah. So my own the way I sort of deal with these things is, yes, there are many different paths. People are there for different reasons. I just say to myself that we are just very fortunate that we've got this path, because this path is by far the most superior, and the information we have, the philosophy we have, depth of philosophy we have answers for everything that Prabhupada has given us, and we have so many wonderful devotees around us who can help us to make wonderful progress on this path. So as far as we're concerned, yes, we respect all other paths. We don't want to say to them that we are the only path. Yes, you have your path too, but we should just stick to our path and be very, very sincere and firm about our path, and no need to go and delve too much into other areas, because unless we are really, really firm in our path, if we start delving into other sides, we might also get distracted. So don't worry too much about the other parts. We have good respect for all of them, but just focus and be sincere about this part. And here we have got guarantees from Krishna, from Prabhupada, that if we follow the path that has been given to us, we will make success of our human life. That's all I would say. But yes,
Hare Krishna,
yes,
Prabhu.
Nitai Mata.
Oh, I thought I would share something if that may be beneficial. Even I was thinking about the Sai Baba devotees. It is just like for them to attract people, they sing Krishna bhajans. But I myself know my family, my sister sometimes, long ago, she said, "Oh, Baba is Krishna, Krishna is Baba." I said, "Excuse me, it doesn't work like that. Baba will never be Krishna. Krishna can be a Baba, yes.
Yeah.
Krishna can become anyone because he is Supreme Personality." So he said, "No, but we are singing." I said, "Yeah, you all sing, but your understanding is very, very this far from the reality."
Yes.
So sometimes I think, Prabhu, just to bring people, they make their teachings very simple. They just want to be on the surface.
Yes.
They just want to be in the very cozy, they don't want to do anything extra. But just to say, okay, we are singing Krishna bhajan, Krishna is there, it's all the same. That's a kind of reality they are in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So similarly, it goes to others also. So because we can't, sometimes we get bewildered. Oh, so that is also a good path. That is good. It's okay. I don't know. I feel that way. As you just simply explained, we are very fortunate, and I think we should try our best to make others also fortunate by
Yes.
not saying, because human life is not to that is not the reason to be a human life, to be a good human being, because
Exactly.
that is just a part of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
If you're just a good human being and everything stops there, then all you are doing is you probably just maybe guaranteeing yourself a better birth next time, but
yeah,
you're not going to stop the birth.
yes, yeah.
That's
So
the point.
if we look at the goal, then
Yeah.
all the rest will be byproducts basically.
Yes.
So I thought I would share that, Prabhu. Sorry, I hope I have not offended anybody, but
No, exactly. Absolutely. No. Like I say, we respect everybody,
yeah,
but we must recognize that we've got the real diamond here, and we should try as much as you can, like you were saying, and even Govinda Gopi was saying, try and convince them. But
yeah,
if they're not, then fine, leave them, give them prasadam. Eventually, one day they will see the light.
yeah,
But we should not waste too much time worrying about other paths. Just
yeah,
focus on our path. That's what I would do.
yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, devotees. Thank you so much for the discussion. Hare Krishna.
One quick word, if I may.
Yes, please, Shailesh Prabhu.
Just one thing that devotees should be extremely cautious of is when looking at a lot of these different factions and belief centers, is that quite often very subtly hidden within the philosophy is Mayavadi philosophy or something that's quite tangential, away from our core thinking. That's where the subtlety lies, and unless we have sort of seniority or maturity, we won't recognize that subtlety. And it's very easy on the face of it to it feels and looks like authentic, but quite often masked within the detail is Mayavadi philosophy, or even worse, where there's that particular sampradaya or the belief center's guru is considered to be God, which is even worse. Just a little elaboration on the Swaminarayan. I don't wish to offend anybody, and I don't want to really. It is, as you rightly say, an extremely sattvic organization. They are really do follow principles very strongly. What they're perhaps lacking in is the purity of the Shastra that we've been gifted with by Srila Prabhupada and our Sampradaya. And what we really have is the acharyas and the commentaries that have been provided by the numerous acharyas in our Sampradaya is probably more detailed than any other Sampradaya in existence. But within the Swaminarayan Panth, there are also, I think, 5 or 6 or 7 divisions who have actually different belief sets, for instance. Like in the Baps Swaminarayan, actually the Pramukh Swami is considered to be an incarnation. Whereas in the other factions, they actually believe that the acharyas in their lineage are just that, acharyas. They're not incarnates. They're not God. But of course, they deviate when it comes to who Swaminarayan is. I think, as people have rightly pointed out, he was a great sant, but I think along the line, the sant has become God, and I think things have taken us. So, but like that, but the point was, I think, what we've really got to be careful about is to understand the philosophy, or not that we should try and understand other philosophies, ours is good enough. So we don't need any other path.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Having seen and investigated and looked at others, we'll realize how rich our sampradaya really is, and how detailed it is, and how much nectar we have within this, and purity of path. It is the fastest, quickest, and purest process we have. So let's not try and deviate away from that in any respect, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Prabhuji, for your. I think it was a lot of people who are joining, sort of recently. It is good for them to kind of understand the breadth and the depth of what it is that we have here and the gifts that we have. And I think you guys are doing a wonderful job in giving this to everyone. So thank you again.
Thank you, Shailesh Prabhu. Thank you. But the point you're making about the fact that, yes, we should be careful that we don't get distracted and everything. The Surbi Mother is making a point on the chat box here that she's saying, but it's good to have information. If the faith is staunch, no one will be distracted. Yes, that's the point. Exactly, Surbi Mataji. If your faith is really strong, then yes, you can do this. But again, if you're a little bit weak, and that's what I worry about. I have known people who come to Krishna consciousness for a little while and they think they're okay, and then they've been influenced by some other philosophy and they're gone. Within a few days, they're gone. So if you've got to be very, very strong. And so the other point I was going to make is, something, we have so much to read. We have so much to hear within our own people. I'm in the mentorship system and I speak to mentees and they say, oh, I can't do this, Prabhu, I don't have time. I don't have time to read our own books. So where's the time to go investigate other things, other parts? If you have time, read our books. Read, listen to Prabhupada, listen to other acharyas in our sampradaya. So much to see. We haven't got time. So I would say, number one, don't waste time going and searching other things. We don't need to. You come to the right path. Stay and stick to it. Number two, if you do happen to hear something by chance, then just make sure you are firm in your faith in Krishna here. And not deviate. Well, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, what does he say? Maya Vadas Bhasya Sunya Haila Sarvanash. That's his warning. By hearing Mayavad, by Shailesh Prabhu was saying, sometimes you hear some sweet philosophy, some from other part, but hidden and within all that is a Mayavadi message, subtle messages coming through. And that is what will kill our devotion. Sarvanash, he's saying. This is Mahaprabhu saying, not anybody else. That you don't listen to Mayavadis because it will kill your devotion. So thank you so much. A couple of messages here. Yeah, yes. Okay. Yeah, so we're running out of time. Sorry, there's some messages there, but we won't have time today. It's almost 9 o'clock now. So we'll take some questions next time around. But thank you so much, devotees. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Prasantabhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji for the